In the last lecture, we created our database code and we made a reference to these to-do list item objects. Now these are known as a data model. They are simply a container to hold a bunch of data to do with our to-do list. So what we have to do is create a class for that. Right-click our shared project, add new file. We want an empty class and we will call this to-do list item and hit new. Remove the constructor inside the class, so we're just left with the class. Now this is going to make use of the SQLite part of our project, the database part. So we have to have a using SQLite statement. Then inside the class, the very first thing we have to have is a public integer ID. And we're going to have a get and a set that allows us to access it. The reason we have an ID is because SQLite databases rely on unique identifiers, and they are usually called an ID and they are usually an integer. And above this line, we have to add some more properties to this integer. The first of which is called primary key. So if you tell your database, go and look up this ID, it knows to look up this actual parameter. We need one more, and that is called auto increment. And auto increment has a look at your current database and all of the IDs, and it finds the highest one in terms of a number. And if your highest one is, say, 10, it will then give the next one a value of 11. So you never have to worry about actually assigning this ID. These items up here will automatically assign the next one up for you. So now we need some variables to actually hold our to-do list items. And the first one we need is a public string. And this is going to be our title. And we need a get and set so we can access it. And then we need another public string, and this will be the content of our to-do list items, so the notes, if you like. And we need to get and set that. Finally, we need another string, and this is called alpha. And this is going to do something quite clever. It's going to set the opacity or the see-throughness of each cell in our table. And I'll cover that a little bit later on as we get into the fine-tuning of our app. But for now, just know that's what it's going to do, and we have to have a get and set for it. And save that. So that completes the data model. And if you close that, now all of these have turned to blue, and we no longer have any reds. In the next lecture, because we've now created everything, we're actually going to insert some default values into our database, and then we're going to show those default values inside our list view.